Good morning, friends. Welcome back once again to DevOps Titan. Today we are going to discuss question number 7. This is a 30 plus CKA exam question series, and I have created video for 6 other questions. This is the seventh one. If you have not yet subscribed and or if you have not yet watched those videos, please also go through it. The link I will try to mention in my description, but the easiest way is to go to DevOps Titan uh, website, and on that website you can click on CK practice question, and you will have all the question at one place. Some of you might not be able to see all 30 plus questions. Maybe you can only have access to 5 or 10 or 15. So there is a small survey. All you need to do is create an account, a free account on DevOps Titan, and participate in the survey to get access to all the questions. Okay, so without further delay, let's start the question. So here the question number 7 is to create a pod and define customer. uh, okay, here not customer. Create a pod and define custom user ID and group. So here the customer will be rectified. That's a typo over here. So the question is create a pod called non-root pod using image redis alpine. Okay, and you need to set runAsUser and fsGroup. These two are the values. um, in question you are being tested whether you know how to use it or not. You have Kubernetes documentation, you can refer it, but practice it enough that you don't need to refer all these. So if I see the survey, how much people loved it and what they say talked about it. So here is a small result, you can see it. And these websites are very new now, right now when you're watching it. Maybe down the line, at the time of you watch this video, check the latest status of this voting on the site. So right now it is just less than couple of weeks old, this website is, and not too many users have visited, so the voting is not very accurate right now. So just to give you what is being tested in this question, and what is run as a user, so you should be knowing it. So run as user is the UID to run, uh, the entry point of container process. So every container process will have some entry point, the image which we create based on Docker, for example. So there is something entry point. So that entry point triggers a process which will run inside that container. So this run as user will, this is the ID which will be which will be which will own that process, which will be executed by entry point. Okay, so the user ID that runs the first process in the container is this user ID, which you will define run as user 1000 or 1100, whatever it is. Okay, so let's go and check the solution step by step. Oh, so looks like there is some kind of mistake in terms of voting. People, they vote more on the page when they understand the question, rather than on the page where these questions, all questions are collectively given. So here there is a pretty much healthy amount of votings, and I see majority of they say that they got a question very similar to this in their exam. Okay, so pay a close attention because this seems a popular question. Okay, so here there's a mistakes to avoid. um, if you are using Mac, then usually we are so much used to use Control C and Control V, so that may not work in the exam. So for Windows user, you need to click on Command C to copy, Command V to paste. I will have a separate video on all the mistakes to be avoided, so no need to worry. But please go through this. This is a very useful piece of information and some hints given over here. So if we talk about the steps to follow, so first step is create a pod YAML as per given question. So we can create a YAML file, and you should be knowing it how to write a small YAML file. Either you dry run, create a nginx pod and use dry run to export a template based on nginx, and then update that YAML file according to the question. So that's how I do it. Quickly I will generate a YAML file and then will update it. So uh, name as per this given question is non-root pod, and in that specification, here security context, you need to define under spec. Okay, so secure, here is the container, so either you can define inside container or security context. Here I have defined security context first and then the container. Usually you will be used to see containers tab first, so uh, if you want, you can start from the container, define pod name, image name, and once this section is container section is done, then just in parallel to the container, create another entry context, security context, and inside security context you define runAsUser and fsGroup as per the given question. That's it. Very simple YAML file. Create this YAML file and make sure it is up and running. And if you execute, if you just give a command id, so how to do this: kubectl exec it and then the name of the pod. And if you write this, after that 2 dash dash, okay, and whatever you will type here, that will be executed inside pod. So if you type id, it will give the id and the group id number. Okay, and this is what was given in the question. So in CKA exam, you will not be asked to create something very great or very complex. They just test your basic skills of understanding whether you have understood the concept, you are able to implement the simple requirement or not. So this was one of the example where, do you know how to trigger the entry point process or the main process inside container using custom ID and group ID. So if you know, this was that you will be able to do this. Very simple, and hope you would have liked it. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. If you have some suggestion, please do let me know. Do not forget to click on the bell icon so that you get notified whenever the next video is released. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. See you in next video.